Hello there and welcome. My name is Peter, and when everyone meets me for the first time, whether it be on by video or in person, they always ask the same question: Is the beard real? Yes, it is. I've had it for over 6 years, and I keep extremely good care of it. The reason I keep it is one, because I like it, and two, I think it's a statement about the type of person who I am, and I'm also a beard model on the side. Over the next 4 to 5 minutes, I'm going to squeeze as much as I can about me and where I sit in the tech world. So, who am I? I have an endless infectious energy and I'm crazy resourceful, and I carry with me a high EQ leadership style, and I can squeeze so much out of tight P&Ls because I'm from a retail and entrepreneurial background. It is just the way we're built. I hide nothing when I'm in the office. You get me, all of the time, and I'm gonna lead from the front, get the job done right here, right now, director. I'm more of the less soft skills explanation about me. I'm a very commercially biased, consumer focused international sales and operations expert that was born techie. Due to my age, I was around before the internet really properly got started, which means I was brought into omnichannel. I wasn't rammed into it, I was actually part of when it started. So it grew with me and within me. I started my working life at 14 years old selling speakers on a consumer electronics shop floor. Even then, I was buying games magazines and typing 50, 60,000 lines of basic code in the hope of getting a free computer game and debugging it for the next 7 days. I'm sure any of you who are listening to this who understand the basic language knows that once you've typed it all out and pressed run, you'll get a message saying syntax error in 1500. You then figure out what the syntax error is, press run again, and it says go subroutine error in 10, which infuriated me because then I could never figure out why there was an error at 1500, but once fixing it, the error was now in 10 when it must have gone past 10 to get to 1500. My college was the UK's first CTC, which meant no matter what I studied, which was actually music, you had to pass their very high caliber technology diploma, which covered coding, database management, and hardware. After getting my ALCM, I then gained my first consultancy role, which was with British Airways, and it was to open the BA helpline, the global telecoms face of the entire airline. This was from setting up the hardware, the software, the reporting systems, and escalation tables, bringing on staff and growing the team. From there, I moved to the largest computer games retailer in the world, where as a single site manager, I shattered all growth records, bringing in 110% like by like growth year on year. Then I was promoted to district manager, where I brought on board 40% growth across my entire district and halved all stop losses. This was done by using and integrating and bringing on new technologies and ensuring they work correctly within the retail sales environment, marketing environment, and all over the consumer world. Then followed multiple troubleshooting and consultancy roles that took me from Clark's, where I found a major problem in the POS systems. Moving then to the USA, where I worked with the world's largest high end technology consumer accessories company, where my knowledge in the consumer sector was utilised, of course, but also my deep electronics and technology knowledge. For example, the biological and technical differences in the way audio is heard live and through speakers, things like skin affecting copper, and also video and visual in the way white noise affects the visuals you get and are projected towards your eyes, brownout picture tapping, and other things like that. During my tenure there, I conceptualized what was the world's largest home consumer tech-based product IP buyout, Beats, which sold to Apple for 1.3 billion. And I didn't see any of that, and it's a long story I'll speak to you about during my interview. I then moved to the entrepreneurial world and the other side of the world, where I coded and built the world's first online made to measure formal clothing company, which is sold to an Indian owned Thai suit manufacturer. Next, I co founded MCT, which, even though it was really a boutique software house, were also regularly brought on board to help major corporations such as 3M, Packard Bell, Lioness, which is now called Lyconet, to name just some, to help them with their online and offline localization, search engine optimization, and PPC campaigns in emerging markets. Both my partner and I exited the company to IBM when we sold MMT, our last piece of software, which is an on the fly AI, PPC, and Forex leveraging system. Let me explain quickly how this works. The idea being that if you, for example, only spoke and wrote Korean and you needed to have a PPC campaign in RMB based on Baidu in China, rubles in Yandex in Russia, and say Brazilian Portuguese in Brazil. The problem on Google, the problem there being One, you have multiple different Forex transactions and multiple different translations. Most systems don't understand acrylic and picturized languages such as simplified Chinese. The system not only leveraged the multiple different currencies to sometimes create a profit, but also what it did was it looked at, is Yandex probably the best way of doing the PPC campaign with the currencies you have? Because it might have been cheaper to actually buy those ads on Google, or vice versa, it might be cheaper to buy those ads on Google in China. Even though it's not going to happen due to the stronghold Yandex and Baidu have in those countries, there was a possibility. And also, not only did all this on the fly with the Forex transactions, and the way you purchase the PPC campaigns, but it would also do the bidding for you, and on top of that, it would do all the live translations for you as well. We sold that for 5 million. After doing that with some of the profits, we then started a CASA, a blockchain-based token vending system, which we sold to Longland Capital for 7 million. As a consultant, I opened the first domestic Chinese, non-Chinese owned company that gained the very hard to get full CCP online marketing license and the even harder CCP SAFE license. Through this, I also started my own multi-site, multidisciplinary award-winning hospitality chain, which covered apartment blocks, hotels, bars, coffee shops, night kitchens, and multiple QSR restaurants, one of which is one of the largest in Southeast Asia, which had over 1,200 covers. The brand was such a success, we also launched our own branded tea, coffee, water, and condiments line. I started this with 250,000 of my own full funds, and the exiting valuation was 38 million. I've sat many training courses with Learning Tree International in Java, Java J2E, and C++, but please, I am no coder. What I am is a strategic leader that bridges tech and the consumer world. I make them all merge into one team. For example, no matter the brief for a role, the main job of a CEO is to make the complicated simple. So any member of a team to the whole company has minimum constraints and hurdles to get the job done. This is why I made this video. I'm not even working for the company yet, and I'm trying to make things easier by cutting down the hurdles. Also, you get to see me, my energy, and how I interact with people. At the moment, I am the NED, even though they're previous CEO of the largest online marketplace in Australia, which effectively is still a startup. As soon as they started, I brought up 2.5 million in PE and brought on board 1.52 million merchants, which makes them the largest online marketplace in the region based on the merchant numbers, and also their product categories and the amount of products they carry is bigger than eBay and Amazon put together. My move to NED was my choice as the group has no desire to move outside of the Australian market, and I personally want a lot more. What am I looking for? An SME or growing company that wants a gigantic commercial injection with near bottomless infectious drive and ambition. I sit well in any type of company as I'm a very open book, but what excites me is when I can make the difference, meaning I normally sit better with very administrative, techie, geeky companies that are looking to that for that yang for their yin. I love pitching for funds, and I have raised for one government agency 650 million to my own chain, which I raised 10 million for in family office money. I've worked for multiple government think tanks in emerging economies in regards to tech and how it will affect the consumer industry going forward, including the NIA and the Thai Consumer Protection Agency. Before COVID, I was a regular on the Asian speech circuit, giving talks on the blockchain and retail, whilst living and working in the USA, giving many speeches on how to use bricks and mortar sales techniques in e-commerce to increase pure play sales in shows such as CEDIA, Comdex, and CES. As NED, I have no notice to give and I'm ready to start right now. Thank you very much. Hope to hear from you soon. Bye bye.